Sounds of the Week on iRadio.
We were inside bank from morning until evening hours without change. No money, no system, and no even customer care that people are being informed of exactly what is going on. Because they brought a new system that they need to connect it with the Momo, that if you want to withdraw the money, you withdraw it. If you want to be given to you as a Momo, you can be given. But unfortunately, they fail not to install the system. And they don't even have cash available. And they do not even bring the IT. People are really suffering. They just remain for the whole day without food, without tea, without money that they got. Some people are crying. The women become suffering. And people don't even mind that bring the attention to the very people who are not suffering. So my request to our government is, you either make a manual issue so that you bring the money direct to the institutions, or you bring another system that the people can get money instead of commercial banks. We need our money. We need services to be given to us.
Sounds of the Week on iRadio. Your eye on South Sudan. Live from Juba, on air and online.
This is iRadio News.
Hello, this is iRadio News. First, here are the headlines. The death toll from the cholera outbreak in Awil South County in northern Bahr El Ghazali state has risen to 6. The chairperson of the National Election Commission, Professor Abednego Akok, has proposed that South Sudan's electoral process be based on the 2008 census and the 2010 elections. And a 3-day commissioners forum in western Bahr El Ghazali state has concluded with key resolutions aimed at improving governance, coordination and service delivery across the state. This is stories and more coming to you in this news bulletin with me, Lasuba Memo. And now the news in detail. The death toll from the cholera outbreak in Awil South County in northern Bahr El Ghazali state has risen to 6. Health officials say nearly 100 people have recovered while 20 others remained under treatment. Awil South County Commissioner Luka Tel confirmed the figures to iRadio this morning. He said health partners including Medicine Sans Frontiers and Norwegian Church Aid are working on the ground to contain the spread of the disease in Tiar Aliet and Ayai Payams. According to Tel, medical teams are conducting treatment campaigns, community awareness sessions and water chlorination activities to prevent new infections.
The cholera was outbreak in Tiaraliad and Ayaypayam. In Tiaraliad, the 2 people died and 47 are recovered, and there is some people who are still now admitted in hospital in Tiaraliad. Ayay also, we have 52 who are recovered, and as I speak to you now, we have 10 people are still admitted in hospital in Ayay, and 5 are died in Ayaypayam. Also, the partners mentioned particular other organizations who are working in the helicopters, the MSF and Norwegian Church Aid. They were interventive, they contributed the medicine and also they contributed the waste material, and also we are doing the general mobilization, the vaccination of cholera. Vaccine is now taking place in these 2 areas. This is how, and we are using the control measures also.
The cholera outbreak in Awil South was first reported early last week. At the time, 2 deaths and over 50 infections were recorded. Both local authorities and health officials have linked the outbreak to poor sanitation and use of contaminated water following recent flooding in parts of the county. The chairperson of the National Election Commission, Professor Abednego Akok, has proposed that South Sudan's electoral process be based on the 2008 census and the 2010 elections. He has also urged the unity government to amend the Commissions Act and the current constitution accordingly. Professor Akok, who spoke on iRadio in an exclusive interview this morning, emphasized the urgency of the matter, saying there is limited time left before the planned elections. He called on the government and political leaders to expedite legal and constitutional amendments to enable timely elections. Akok also recommended that the next elections be conducted using the 332 constituencies established in 2010.
The requirement for election according to the Election Act amended 2023 there are some obstacles we need to be cleared before we could go for the election date. First of all, we are left now with 14 months. There are some gaps and contradictions in the National Election Commission Act regarding the seats, 332 seats, while the constituencies are not marked. So we would like to suggest to the leadership and those who are committed with the RSC that for us to run election, we go back to 2008 census and 2010 election. That is using the constituencies, all constituencies. These need to be amended and to be passed by the parliament.
Professor Cook further appealed to political parties that are signatory to the 2018 Revitalized Peace Agreement to demonstrate unity and commitment toward holding elections in December 2026.
My last message to the parties and the government and South Sudanese, first of all, it is the duty of the government to come up with a very clear political will that we are ready to conduct election in December 2026. And it is the duty of those parties who signed peace agreement to sit down and see those gaps and contradictions and recommend urgently to the parliament to amend the act. Then from there we can now go for election. This is what I can recommend now.
South Sudan has not held general elections since gaining independence in 2011. The first polls were scheduled for July 2015 but were postponed due to the outbreak of violent conflict. The Director of Community Policing says cases of murder and gang-related crimes in Lologo in Juba have significantly dropped following continuous community awareness campaigns. However, Major General Justin says Gumbo Shirika remains the biggest challenge in efforts to combat gang activities. He revealed that police previously recorded murder cases almost daily, but such incidents have now stopped due to cooperation between the residents and the police. Walmapal has more.
Speaking on the Around South Sudan podcast on Friday on iRadio, General Justin said the police approached rival gangs in Lologo and helped transform them into a youth development group. He noted that the initiative was supported through the police community relations committees and awareness campaigns aimed at addressing issues such as drug abuse and alcoholism among youth. However, Major General Justin said Gumbo Shirkat remains the biggest challenge in efforts to curb gang-related crimes. He pointed out that the presence of several companies in the area attracts idle youth, increasing the risk of criminal activity.
In Lologo, we used to register a death case almost weekly, if not two. But now we managed to talk to these gangs because there are groups, different types, and then they used to fight each other. We started to approach them. At the end, we brought them together. No, now we have changed them to Lologo Youth for Development. And some of them were having some challenges and cannot afford schooling, cannot, through our partners, to involve them in many activities. Some have already joined the technical school in, some of them have joined even the police. Juba, Gumba Shirikari still, you see, but we are there doing our best, and the community also is helping a lot. We are talking to them, especially now we have already decided to reach the schools, especially in the area of drugs and alcoholism, because there are laws from the city council banning selling.
He added that police continue to work with the schools, community leaders and local councils to raise awareness, enforce city bylaws and encourage parents to monitor their children's behavior. Major General Justin commended the cooperation of the public, saying community policing initiatives have helped reduce crime not only in Juba, but also across the other states and border areas, including Reng, Yei, and Kajokeji.
Here, a bit better. You see, we have, because as a result of our involvement in these PCRCs, committees, and outreach awareness, we talk to the people, and then also the issue of niggers. It is one of our concerns, because they are involved in drugs abuse and they are involved in alcoholism and so on. So we talk to the community leaders and the quarter council members and so on. Even the quarter council members, they have established some laws to to address some of the vacuums in the laws. So these have helped a lot. As a result, have reduced the crime rate, especially if you take, for example, in Juba, leave alone the states. Of course, we went as far as the borders in Reng, in Western Barakazal, Western Equatoria, Eastern Equatoria, and the border areas of Ye, Kajikeji, and so all those areas we have reached, and we managed to sensitize our people, especially the youngest.
Major General Daniel Justin said some young people have managed to leave gang groups but often fear retaliation if they report their former members to the authorities. He said police are encouraging them to speak up by reporting such issues to teachers, community leaders, or local police officers for protection and guidance. The Director of Community Policing added that the police, together with partners, are engaging with youth in positive activities such as sports to keep them away from crime and drug abuse.
And some of them managed to escape from those type of groups. Some of them, they are fearing if they report, they will be harmed by the group. So we slowly talk to them that whenever there is such a thing, you have to share it with us, share it with your school masters, share it with the community leaders in your residential area. They will help you out. And many of them later on, they come and testify that everything have now changed because of 1, 2, 3. We did this, and we are being very close. And our partners have been involved in sports activities, providing some, you get them involved in sports in the afternoons when they come back from schools. No time to go and waste chatting in the streets and all this. They go to the playground and so on. So this have helped a lot, and then especially the parents. I've talked to them, the mothers.
Under Article 15 of the Police Act, the National Police Service has established community relations committees in residential areas to strengthen security and cooperation between the police and the public. According to the Director of Community Policing, these committees are responsible for ensuring the safety of their respective communities. Each committee is chaired by the local community leader or sultan, while the secretary is the police division commander or inspector, depending on the size of the area. The committees include representatives from youth groups, women's associations, local dignitaries, and members of the quarter and area councils. They meet once every month to discuss security issues and coordinate efforts to prevent crime. The director emphasized that this collaboration has helped improve community security and foster trust between residents and the police. Reporting for iRadio News, Walma Pal, Juba.
Thanks, Walma Pal. A 3-day Commissioners Forum in Western Bar El Ghazali State has concluded with key resolutions aimed at improving governance, coordination, and service delivery across the state. The forum, held from October 23rd to 25th in Wau, took place under the theme Building Trust, Unity, and Coordination for Effective Service Delivery in Local Government. Deputy Governor Zakaria Joseph Garang chaired the forum, attended by senior state officials, including the Speaker of the State Legislative Assembly, ministers, advisors, the Mayor of Wau Town, county commissioners, representatives of UN agencies, civil society organizations, and other development partners. Participants discussed challenges affecting the state, including border encroachment in Raja County, poor road networks, weak telecommunications, delays in seed distribution, inadequate medical supplies, and a shortage of trained health and education personnel. Other concerns they raised include the influx of refugees and internally displaced persons, illegal land demarcation, logging, and unplanned construction of petrol stations in residential areas. After extensive discussions, the forum resolved that counties should prioritize peaceful coexistence among communities and address border disputes through dialogue. Humanitarian and development partners, including UN agencies and NGOs, were urged to strengthen collaboration with local authorities and extend services to hard-to-reach areas. The forum directed county authorities to manage their 3% community share of gold revenues transparently and invest the funds in local development priorities. It tasked the Ministry of Agriculture with ensuring the timely delivery of seeds, tractors, and other inputs to farmers, while Raja County was encouraged to revive its sugarcane plantation project to stimulate local economic growth. All counties were advised to prepare annual budgets, establish consolidated accounts, and develop comprehensive local development plans to promote accountability and effective service delivery. The forum reaffirmed the importance of establishing county and municipal councils to enhance local governance and representation. It also recommended the creation of a gubernatorial land management committee to address issues of illegal land demarcation and settlement. Environmental protection was emphasized with calls for immediate measures to curb illegal tree cutting and forest destruction. Participants further encourage initiatives that empower youth and women through cultural programs, training, and economic opportunities. Key state ministries, including animal resources, housing, and public utilities, were encouraged to establish functional departments at the county level to strengthen service delivery. At the closing of the meeting, participants pledged to work collectively toward a united, peaceful, and stable Western Bahr El Ghazali state and called on the governor to monitor and ensure the full implementation of the adopted resolutions. The mobile court is expected today to determine whether to proceed with framing of charges in the sexual assault case involving 13 young men accused of sexually assaulting a minor in Gumbo Shirikat area in May this year. The trial, which began earlier this month, involves 13 suspects accused of sexually assaulting a 16-year-old girl. They face 4 charges, including joint criminal acts, criminal intimidation by anonymous communication, unlawful detention of sexual assault, and robbery. Speaking to iRadio ahead of today's session, defense lawyer advocate Godfrey Victor Bullen said the court has already heard all sides of the case. Bullen says the court finished with procedure by hearing the complaint, investigation, and the victim's testimony. The court also heard the prosecution and defense case before examining all the accused persons who are standing trial. Bullen said today the court is going to frame a charge whether there is a case against them or not. He spoke to iRadio this morning from the court.
There is a session today for framing of charge because the court had the complaint, had the investigation, had the complainer, had the victim, and the prosecution case, and then opened the defense case, and the court examined all the accused persons who are standing trial. So today the court is going to frame a charge whether there is a case against them or there is no case against them.
The judge presiding over the case had earlier this month had the investigator's testimony followed by cross-examination from the defense counsel. The incident, which occurred in June and was recorded and shared on social media, sparked public outreach and condemnation from civil society organizations, women's groups, and human rights defenders. This is iRadio News, and now to the international scene. Here is James Atem.
Thank you, Lasuba Memo, and here are the top stories trending across the region and beyond. The winner of Cameroon's heavily disputed presidential election is set to be announced today by the Constitutional Court, the BBC has reported. Paul Biya, who at 92 is the world's oldest head of state, is seeking his 8th consecutive term in office. Opposition leader Issa Chiroma Bakary has already declared himself the winner, saying the Constitutional Council will announce a tentative result. Elsewhere, the UN has called for safe passage for trapped civilians out of the Sudanese city of El Fasher after paramilitary fighters announced they had seized control of the army's main base there. Sudan's military has not acknowledged loss of the site, which would be a significant victory for the rapid support forces in the ongoing civil war. UN Chief Antonio Guterres said the latest fighting marked a terrible escalation in the conflict, adding that the suffering of civilians was unbearable, AFP news agency reports. And finally, Mali has suspended schools and universities nationwide due to a severe fuel scarcity caused by a blockade on fuel imports imposed by Islamist insurgents. Education Minister Amadou Savane announced on state television that all education institutions will remain shut until 9 November, saying the movement of staff and students had been affected by the blockade. He said the authorities were doing everything possible to end the crisis so that classes could resume on 10th November. And that brings us to the end of the stories across the region and beyond with me, James Atem. Now back to you, Lasuba Memo, in the studio.
Thank you indeed, James Atem. And now move to the world of sports, and here is Darlington Moses.
Thank you so much, Lasuba Memo. In the world of sports, starting with home news, in the 5th round of South Sudan Premier League, Bentiu City defeated Al Hilal WOW 2-1. Despite Al Hilal taking the early lead, Bentiu City came back to win the match with 2-1. In another match, Qatar Juba thrust Koryambur 5-0. Following these results, Al Merrikh Bentiu tops the league table with 13 points from 5 matches, tied with Jammus and Qatar Juba, but Al Hilal Merrikh leads on goal difference. At the bottom of the table, Hilal, WOW and Lion Hunter occupy 13th and 14th positions respectively. In the race for the top scorer, Kier Mangar of Al Merrikh Bentiu shares the lead with George Rodriguez of Jammus and Abraham Chuder of Al Ghazala WOW, each having scored 5 goals so far. In Spanish La Liga updates, Jude Bellingham scored and assisted for the first time in La Liga this season as Real Madrid overcame Barcelona in a breathless and fiery Clásico at the Bernabeu. The England midfielder produced a defense-splitting through ball to up Kylian Mbappe for the 22nd minute opener before his 43rd minute tap-in restored his side's lead 5 minutes after Fermin Lopez leveled it up. And in some sport update in the Premier League in England, Arsenal continues to lead the Premier League after the latest round of matches. The Gunners secured a narrow 1-0 victory over Crystal Palace, while their closest rivals Manchester City and Aston Villa both suffered defeats yesterday. Meanwhile, Everton lost 3-0 to Tottenham Hotspur, adding to the shifting dynamics at the top and middle of the table. And finally, in the NBA, Victor Wembanyama became the first player in NBA player history to record 100 points and 15 blocks in the first 3 games of the regular season as the San Antonio Spurs beat the Brooklyn Nets in Texas. San Antonio recovered from blowing a 26-point lead to maintain their unbeaten start to campaign with a 118-107 win. The home side led 81-55 with 9 minutes left in the third quarter, but a 26-7 run in the Nets' favor reduced the deficit to 88-81 respectively. But a strong display in the fourth quarter, while included a 10-0 run, had the Spurs seal the win. Frenchman Wembanyama put up 31 points, 14 rebounds, 4 assists, 3 steals and 6 blocks in 36 minutes of the action. Thanks, Lasuba Memo. This is all in the world of sport, and back to you.
Thanks, Darlington Moses. This is iRadio News, and to end this bulletin, here's a recap of the headlines. The death toll from the cholera outbreak in Awil South County in northern Bahar El Ghazal State has risen to 6. The chairperson of the National Election Commission, Professor Abednego Akok, has proposed that South Sudan's electoral process be based on the 2008 census and the 2010 elections. And a 3-day Commissioners Forum in Western Bahar El Ghazal State has concluded with key resolutions aimed at improving governance, coordination, and service delivery across the state. That's the end of iRadio News. If there's a story or an event you'd like iRadio to cover or report about, please send us a text message at +2 1925 287 870. It's also our WhatsApp number. Follow us on X at iRadio Juba, like our Facebook page iRadio, subscribe to our YouTube channel at iRadio South Sudan. You can also visit our website and listen to us online at www.iradio.org. Stay tuned for news in Arabic at 12:30. I am Lasuba Memo. Thanks for listening.